the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
In the build-up to the elections, Second Lady of the Republic, Hajiya Samira Bawumia, any media personalities, journalists, ekoshiaye na NDC communicator Beatrice Anan ebe kasa bibri ewo Twitter didi ebi matem say omakwa kushia Hajiya Samira Bawumia na journalist for this artist omubusa na say aden ukoshia Second Lady of the Republic of Ghana e patche say oye corrupt ana say the Second Lady are inviting her say oni ewo nkomodie bi in the build up to the elections ni ekwa kotie na sema na wapa with all infantry ebe kasa etia ye integrity anche bia na the Professor Jane Nana, the running mate of the National Democratic Congress, and so ye the same meeting with journalists. I say 10,000 Ghana cedis envelope, a PPMO, Emma 1 PPMO as transportation, and then the building na Beatrice no only in Nsem-Pii eka after the atona the sharing of pictures. I expose the hypocrisy of the National Democratic Congress. Now. Another media encounter, former President John Dramani Mahama and Obiti says Serwah here, presenter GH1 television, PMU various data. Former President John Dramani Mahama release and then it says censor free abemu the New Patriotic Party and far 1 ounce of water and can Ghana water supply. Now so share projects be even in Volta region, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo commissioned completed projects of various water supply projects. Even in Bono region, videos be APP. Ni nane de oma interrogate statements. Omo kwache ne tra and omo de koere eko publish omo media stations. Enti ya show omo kutupa. So omo share NPP communicators omo ere omo miamo. And I say wa ami here ene Miracles Aboagye ebeshiaye ewo GH1 omo discuss na o share data bia oko raise bae se odi ba bebusa Dennis Miracles Aboagye se waso pa se ubeti se according to the New Patriotic Party so man create 2.3 million jobs into controller and accountant general oko share no na payroll no omo 2.3 million into party say dey enye no kore. And the Dennis Miracles Aboagye say adding private sector no omu na omu GP controller and accountant general ana na fede otiko Nsem-Pii PMU between the discussions of Serwah here and Dennis Miracles Aboagye when they just say when ye media encounter ye tie near the call we ye facts and data yenko tie live discussions on TV Dennis Miracles Aboagye and Serwah here in the build-up of after the manifesto launch of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for the 2024 elections.
Said in Parliament that we've created 2.3 million jobs. We've all showed our scorecard. Would you want a government that created 600,000 jobs to come and fix your unemployment situation? Or you would want a government that has created 2.3 million jobs to come and fix your unemployment situation?
Give me a breakdown of these jobs.
Oh, I have the Excel. It's quite complex. It's a lot of sectors.
But the sectors.
Oh, the public sector. So talk about the security services. Talk about the health sector. Talk about the civil service. Talk about the local government service. Talk about aviation, civil aviation, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, private sector. 1D1F alone, which is a deliberate government policy industrialization. That one alone has created about 160,000 jobs. So we have a tall list.
Let me read this to you in your 2020 manifesto. On page 2, you said that, in 3.5 years that you have been in office, you have stabilized the economy, you have eliminated and reduced the number of taxes, you have reduced the overall tax burden, you have doubled growth, and you have created over 2 million jobs in the public and formal sectors, public and formal private sectors.
Yes.
So in your 2020 manifesto, you had created over 2 million jobs.
Yes.
And 4 years later, we still have 2.1 or you say 2.3 million jobs.
Yes.
So between 2020, where you had created over 2 million jobs, and we're in 2024, it means you haven't created that much jobs.
Because between 2020 and 2024, admittedly, that is when we've had the most difficult economic crisis ever. So you should understand there's been an economic slowdown. Businesses have struggled for 2 years.
So between 2020 and 2024, how many jobs have you been
over 300,000? Rightly so, because isn't that
in
the period?
What sectors?
Isn't both public and private sector? Both public and private sector. Isn't that the period where we've had the
Where
most?
Specifically?
Oh, I can always give you the Excel sheet. It's there. We have it.
But jobs is something that is very dear to you, Dennis. I expect that.
I have it on top of my head.
The sectors,
amazing.
At least.
But I've told you, I said public sector and private sector, security services, health sector, education sector, private sector, industries, services. And the data is there. I mean, if you can, I can give it to you to chew it and tell me next week. But I am unable to chew.
Don't worry,
I'm unable to chew.
I have that data as well.
I'm glad you have it. So you can share that with us and then you read through that. So really, that is the period where we've had the most economic difficulties and challenges. That's where we had the slowest of time when it comes to economic growth. And so you should expect that what we achieved rapidly in the first 4 years, really, there's been a slowdown. And we are not running away from that. If there has ever been a government that has admitted and been sincere with the people when it comes to difficulties and challenges, it's this government. I mean, in the past, our competitor, who is seeking to be president again when he was president, when we were complaining about some of these things, what did he tell us? His ministers told us that they have nothing for us and that we should go to the bush and go and cut grass and come and put it by the roadside. His ministers actually told the young people to go into the forest and gather rocks and stones and sell by the roadside. That's what we were told. And so really, it is about sincerity. It is about honesty. It is about a government that is able to say that this is who we are. This is what we've been able to achieve. This is what we haven't been able to achieve. And this is our proposition in dealing with what is outstanding for us to do. And that is what this manifesto is talking about. You realize that this 2024 manifesto is not so much heavy on social interventions as our previous manifestos have been. In the past, you see all our manifestos proposing a lot of social safety nets. What Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is saying is this: it is time for us to consolidate and strengthen the existing social safety nets. Let's improve the National Health Insurance Scheme. Let's improve the school feeding program. Let's improve the basic schools. Let's improve the free senior high school. Let's improve all the social safety net, all the social safety nets we have in place. Protect them and make sure that they are standing. Because you know what? Those are the things that are providing the enabling platform, creating equity for the Ghanaian people to thrive and to dream and to aspire. If I wake up and I live in Kukwa, you know Kukwa, it's in a Yeswano constituency, far away. If I live there and I have access to quality education and I have access to quality healthcare, it gives me the opportunity to compete with you, Serwah, who lives in Labodi or Cantonment. I'm just saying.
I don't listen.
So I'm just saying. So it creates that enabling environment for the rich and the poor to both dream and aspire, and those things need to be protected.
I want us to still stay on the jobs. I have the breakdown. It wasn't clear. That is why I kept asking and pushing for it.
Let me also
but yesterday,
once you open it.
No problem at all. But yesterday, the Controller and Accountant General was at the Public Accounts Committee, and he said that those on his payroll, about some 760,000 people. I'm sure that you say that not everyone is on the,
that's the fact.
Of course, and so I know that is going to be the defense.
No, it's not defense. That's a fact.
Okay,
that
is
a
fact.
Yes, be nice.
No problem. No problem at all.
Yes.
But we also know, Dennis, that the Statistical Service last year said that it released the Ghana Earnings Report. It said that just about 10% of public sector workers are not on the controller's payroll. So if we add, say, 100,000 people to 760,000 who are on the controller's payroll, that is not 1.4 million jobs.
No, that's not 2.3 million jobs.
Well, as at the time. So that is still not even 2.1 or 2.3 million jobs.
Let me tell you what.
Tell me.
When it comes to public sector employment, there are those who are directly on the consolidated fund and paid through controller. There are some that are on government subventions, and there are some that are completely on their own. If you put all of those institutions together and their employment together within the 8 years, it gives you the 1.4 million people.
That's for the public sector.
Relax. You know Ghana Airports Company?
Yes.
You know the staff strength of Ghana Airports Company?
Tell me.
It runs into thousands.
Okay.
You know Ghana Port and Harbours Authority? It runs into thousands. The GMPC, the MPA, the BOST, the civil aviation, Those are all public institutions.
And I've added, I gave
no,
you
you haven't. You have not. You know how? How can you put that at 100,000? Do you know the staff strength of Cocoa Board alone?
How many?
So I'm just saying that you cannot just say sit there and say I put them into 100,000.
Okay.
YEA is employing. NYA is employing. There are several of I run a public institution. I have staff who are not on government payroll. So pick the data. I thought you were going to pick the data that we shared, and then you interrogate that data and tell me that, oh no, this line I don't think it is like that. The police, the number of health professionals we have recruited in the past 8 years, the number of teachers we have recruited in the past 8 years, put those together, then you can interrogate the data properly. The good news here is this, Serwah. We have put out our data line by line. The time the NDC said they created 600,000 jobs. 600,000 jobs. Did you know the number of public sector employees on controller? Barely 350,000. Does it mean that the 250,000 didn't exist? That is not the case. That is not the case. And again, there is an erroneous thinking when it comes to the analysis of the jobs when we say that because a government has created 2.4 million jobs, unemployment should be non-existent. What is our population? Go and check the same statistics report, and go and check the same population census, and check the number of people who are ready to work, and compare to the number of people who we claim are working. It tells you that the gap is huge. And so today, even if you have a government creating 3 million jobs, you will still have over 4 million people who still require jobs to do.
Are these jobs that you have created sustainable?
Of course. We separate the unsustainable jobs from the sustainable jobs.
And you still get the 2.3
Absolutely.
million. Because in 2023, Dennis SSNIT released a report which says that active pension contributors stood at 1.9 million people. And you say that you have created 3 million jobs.
So your understanding of unemployed people are new people who have never worked.
I'm asking you.
No, so I'm also trying to help in the interrogation. So let me also help. Maybe let me not ask you. When we say there are unemployed persons, it doesn't mean that these are people who have never worked. I got my SSNIT number when I was in the University of Ghana because I went to school with a student loan. So my SSNIT number, the one they gave me for the student loan, be something, is the same number that I'm using. So I've been part of the SSNIT number statistics since 2003. Since 2003.
Your point is?
Now the point is that I got fired as MC in 2020. So I became unemployed. So I was part of the unemployed statistics. I got re-employed in 2022, February. So I became part of the employed. So you are telling me that SSNIT is going to re-register me and give me another number? Are you understanding? So I had the same number, became unemployed, became employed. SSNIT's data doesn't change. It doesn't reflect it.
I see.
So
isn't it calculated by the payments that are made into?
No, you're talking about beneficiaries. That's what you are using. Not payment. You cannot use payment. You cannot use payments to calculate unemployment. It will be beneficiaries. Even the point you are making, you cannot. I have worked in pensions. I understand it very well. You can't use that. It will be the beneficiaries. That's the argument you want to make. And the point I'm making to you is that people who are on SSNIT row or the SSNIT database can become unemployed and become employed again. It doesn't mean that as you bring 2.4 million people onto the working group, you must SSNIT data will increase to 2.something million. It doesn't work that way. So today, the Ghana statistics report that says that maybe there are 1 million unemployed people. It doesn't mean that all these 1 million unemployed people have never worked before, for which reason they don't have SSNIT numbers. They would have SSNIT numbers. There could be some 600,000 of that who actually have SSNIT numbers, but have lost their jobs, for which reason they are waiting or looking for other jobs. When eventually they are employed.
Let's talk about the tax cuts also that the Vice President has proposed. I'm sure that you have heard this question many times about, if the Vice President says if he becomes President, betting tax will be abolished, e-levy will be abolished, and the question on the minds of many Ghanaians is why can't he propose it to the President to abolish them now?
Okay, so first of all, he has proposed it to Cabinet. Cabinet disagreed with him. He is not the only person in government.
He has?
Yes. He is not the President. He doesn't take ultimate decision.
When was this proposal made?
Why? He's made his point about betting tax and e-levy several months ago, almost running into a year. But he's not president. We run an executive presidency. You see, you can do politics and be sentimental, but the facts are the facts. You are vice president, you are a minister, a cabinet minister. When you go to cabinet, there's something called collective responsibility. But the ultimate responsibility is with the president. So ultimately, when cabinet takes a decision, we're all collectively part of it. But why? You think there's everything in this government that I agree with, even though I speak for government a lot of times. I disagree with a lot. With a lot. But I take collective responsibility of decisions of government. That is how sane societies operate. That is the essence of democracy. Otherwise, there will be chaos. GH1, Serwah, over here, are you telling me that it is every decision that is taken by Nanaba and Bola that you agree with? But you go for management meetings, right? You go for staff meetings. You make proposals. Bola will agree with some. They will disagree with some. It will be implemented. You come and sit here. You interview me. Even though you may not want to interview me, it is a production decision for you to interview me. It doesn't mean that you necessarily agree. If you had the chance to be the head of production, maybe you will not interview miracles. So it is okay for you to go and tell your team that, you know what, I want to be head of production. When I become head of production, I would not interview miracles. Then your staff will say, then stop interviewing miracles now. You're not the one that takes the decision when it comes to who you interview on your show. It is your production team. That is how sane societies operate. When he becomes president, he believes that some enabling environment has been created in the past 1 or 2 years that does not require for e-levy to still be in existence. I'll give you a quick example. He's proposing that he cut 3% of GDP, which is about 30 billion, to private sector. So that is money that government will not need immediately, for which reason government has no reason to go and look for. So are you following? What it means is that he can easily cut out e-levy and still be able to mobilize what government requires to be able to run government business within the fiscal year. But that is a decision that he would make when he's president. He is not president at the moment. And he doesn't take the decisions that government has to take. Cabinet decisions are decisions that he will follow through and implement. But he doesn't take decision as the president of the Republic of Ghana. Nana Danko Akufo-Addo has taken a budget to create a fiscal framework in Parliament in 2023 November. In that budget, he said that we are going to mobilize revenues through e-levy. That fiscal framework is what we are working with right now, Serwah. It is not up to the vice president to get up one day and call it, wish it away, and say that I'm vice president. I don't think we need a levy, so get out. He doesn't have that power. He doesn't take that decision. You may skew it. You may do politics with it. That is your business.
Have you heard members of the NDC say that if the president is unwilling to abolish these taxes, even when the vice president is against them, it means he himself does not even believe in the vice president?
This morning, I just shared a video of John Jinapo, Honorable, on my Facebook wall. He was asked a specific question. What is the rule of the vice president? This was when he was spokesperson to the vice president, Mahama. He asked, what is the rule of the vice president? I'll try to paraphrase him. He said the president has asked him to take care of social events, our day, Thanksgiving programs, speech and prize giving days. He attends, he does the media relations. And this is John Jinapo. And that the president has said that he will concentrate on the core government business, the economy, and the serious government business. These are his words. There is law. There is regulation. There are rules. You can't wash them away. You are a host. You are not in charge of production. The fact that your production team says today interview miracles and you disagree doesn't mean that they don't believe in you. It is not your decision. It is not your choice. You don't have the responsibility. We did not vote for you as president. We voted for Nana Danko Akufo-Addo as president. Nana Danko Akufo-Addo has his own vision, has his plan, and has a trajectory on which he wants to take the government. All of us, including the vice president, will work towards him and work for him. Otherwise, why don't you turn the same question to John Mahama, His Excellency, the former president? Why does he want to be president again? All the things he said he will come and do. Didn't we give him an opportunity in 2012? At the 2012 IEA debate, he looked us in the eyes and told us, and I quote him, I am only a spare driver. Make me the main driver and let me continue to do the good work that we've started as a government. When I come, I'm going to create jobs. I'm going to help businesses to expand. I'm going to stabilize our power situation. For 8 years, he created 600,000 jobs. He moved our inflation from 8% to 15% as president. Today, he is back. promising us all the things he promised us again in 2012 before we gave him power? Why are we not saying that all the things you said you will do today, you should have done them as president, so get out? In fact, if there is anybody we are going to hold accountable to this scenario, it is a former president, because he has been president before. He has been given that responsibility to fix all the things he said he will fix today, which he failed to do. Why would you let the former president, the man that has been president before, go scot-free on things that he saying he will do today? Why are you not asking him all these things you are saying? Why didn't you do them when you were president? And you're asking the vice president. What kind of unfairness is that?